Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on Cassino in Ischia, a difficult pronounced movie about a movie star who misses out on a reward and a gig, and he goes to Ischia on vacation. Yeah, relatable. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 15, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So while in Italy, taking a vacation, the movie star, he runs into, I think, an old Italian director or an old Italian guy who just wants to make a movie. And so he hires Cassino. Nick Cassino is his name, in order to be the star, and they're going to revive Italian cinema. And I don't know, in the process, he falls in love and finds his passion, and I don't know, it looks like the movie they're making in the movie is terrible, which usually isn't a good sign. But this looks like a wacky hotel movie. Watchable to a certain extent, but I don't know, not for me. Let's see who wrote this thing. Written by Joseph A. Ciotto and directed by Frank Ciotto. Oh, so the Ciotto brothers are doing this. Dominic Purcell is the star. It feels also like a sequel, because it feels like there's something else going on with the Nick Cassino character that happened in a previous movie that they don't totally reference. I mean, I think it's a romantic comedy. I think it's partially meant to be a comedy, but it feels a little dated and old in its comedy. I mean, it feels kind of wholesome in that respect. There's not anything, I wouldn't say there's anything dirty. I mean, they bill it as an action movie. It doesn't feel like an action movie at all. You know, they play the music, dun, 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 dun. That's usually like a comedy soundtrack, and so it feels more like a romantic comedy. It doesn't show much action in the movie, and the action that it does show seems pretty fake, like purposely fake, because it's Nick Cassino in movies, in the movie, acting. So, which is tough to pull off, right? I mean, if the actor, if you're shooting a movie within a movie and the actor is really into his part, it can like actually confuse the audience, I think, to some extent, especially if you come into the middle of the movie like, oh, what's this movie about? Oh, and then you realize it's a movie within a movie. You go, oh, all right, so he's the actor. So to some extent, I think actors put on their acting face when they're acting in a movie within a movie. But that being said, you know, this movie feels light. Like action movies are usually, I don't know, full of action, like rough action. This feels like it's supposed to be a wacky comedy. A comedy that would maybe play better in Europe, I guess. I don't know. Here, I don't see this comedy. It's not relatable. I mean, a movie star goes to Italy on vacation and stumbles into another opportunity to be in a movie. Yeah, it happens to me all the time. To do comedy, you need something that people can hook into, right? Now, there's some universal concepts here about love and about getting old and finding your voice and that kind of thing, but when you put it in the setting of a movie star going to Italy, it's much less relatable, and people kind of go, okay, who is this guy? And when you put that kind of soundtrack behind it, it seemed to me, it indicates to the audience, oh, this is just ridiculous, so laugh at this fluff. And if it's not super funny, yeah, it doesn't seem to be particularly funny. All right, let's scroll down and read the, oh, well, let me do the act breakdown. So first act, Nick is at an award ceremony. He doesn't win. His career's on the downslope, and he goes to Ischia in Italy to forget his troubles. Second act, he starts meeting people. He meets this nice woman, and he runs into a guy who wants to direct a movie and put him in it. So he accepts that and gets in shape again, and he's going to be in a movie. He pursues his romance. The movie is terrible, but his romance goes well. The ending is maybe they're not going to finish the movie, and then they do. I don't know. The stakes they don't feel very high. It's not like he's on the verge of bankruptcy or something. All right. So here it is. The next generation of action heroes push Nick Cassino off his perch. He goes to Italy to work with struggling Italian directors on the first ever neo-realist action movie in an effort to revitalize his career. Okay. All right, that's a little better, but it's still not an action movie. It's a movie about movies. In which case, I think the focus should be more on the movies. I really wish you had included something like that in the trailer. A line where the guy goes, oh, this won't be an action movie. This will be a neo-realist action movie. Like, then I'd get it. You're focusing on the romance and the comedy. Yeah, you could throw that in there, but you got to focus on what the movie's about. If this is what the movie's about, then focus on that. There's a little bit of that. I didn't really get the sense he was an action guy. I got the sense he was an actor. But, action guys, they're in action movies and they beat the hell out of dudes. And you can really go over the top with the fake movies, right? Because you don't have to show the whole fake movie. So you could do a scene that's just insane, right? You've killed 50 people, Anderson. What are you going to do now? Kill 50 more. Like, you don't have to justify that line. Right? And it's funny, and it's like, oh, okay. He was in some crazy movie called Anderson, where Anderson just murders people for some reason. That's the kind of fake movies you should put in a movie, especially if it's a comedy. It should be completely over the top. You beat to death a rhino, Anderson. Now what? I'm going to beat to death another one. Like, you don't have to justify that. You don't have to show him beating the rhino to death. You could just have these crazy lines. So, and the I actually kind of like the neo-realist action movie because I want to see what that is. It wasn't clear that the Italian director is a director other than he had a script and wants to make a movie. He could have just been a rich guy who wants to make it. Again, that should also be clear in this, and it's not. So, bad job on the trailer, I would say. Too light, too much like a hotel movie. You could make this movie more of a comedy. Now, that might speak to the movie itself. It's not very funny. It plays a little bit fast and loose with that concept, doesn't really focus in on it. That would be bad. Okay? You actually have my interest in that pitch, but this actual trailer doesn't look like that movie. Neo-realist action star, the scenes they're shooting of the Italian movie, which is in black and white, doesn't look like there's any action in it. Which means, is that neo-realist? There's no action in the action movie? Inquiring minds want to know. So yeah, that would be my criticism of it. It needs something more. It needs just a different cut of this trailer. And it definitely needs this concept in it. I would say. The title is terrible too. Cassino in Ischia? Who the hell knows what that is? Nick Cassino. That's a made-up character that, as far as I know, no one's ever heard of. Now, this may be a sequel to a hit movie that I missed, but I can't imagine the Nick Cassino movie was that big a hit. Maybe it was. Think you need a better title than that. Cassino in Ischia. I mean, Ischia, too hard to pronounce. Cassino in Italy, slightly better. I know what Italy is instantly. Doesn't seem to have anything to do with the Italian director and its first ever neo-realist action movie. It should probably be the name of that movie, whatever that is. Maybe that has a better title. But Cassino, it's not a great name to put out there. It's a fictional name. It's also, even though they're spelling it with two S's, it's also casino as in a place you go gamble. So I'm really big on titles. I would have been like, you can't call it this. You have to change the title of the movie. Cassino in Ischia. Too hard to pronounce. It's different, but too hard to pronounce. You want something that zings. Something with good cadence. Something about him being a movie star or an action star. Action star in Italy would be better. Slightly. Something like that. I mean, Nick Cassino isn't a big enough name, in my view. Unless, again, this is a sequel to something. I don't know. And if it is a sequel, you should probably play that up a little bit, too. Because you could always get someone who likes this movie to go back and watch the first movie, if that's a movie. I think you got an interesting pitch. I don't know about the execution. And I really hate the title. I just hate the title. So, yeah, you should really think about changing that, but I doubt you will. Anyhow, good luck with the movie. I kind of hope it does well. Would I see it? I might. See, the problem with the name too is it's forgettable. I'm going to forget this the moment I post this video. It'll be out of my brain. However, if my SO stumbled across this movie on streaming and said, hey, you want to watch this? And this looks good. And I was like, okay. Oh, I remember this. Maybe I would watch it. I'm a little worried it looks too much like a TV movie, but I might give it a chance, at least. Yeah, I just wish better for this premise. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on the green site, the orange site, and the black site for our other two videos you don't see on YouTube because YouTube is a-hole. Tune in for another video later. Next up for me, looks like the Saturday thing isn't going to happen. So Monday at Baker's Place in Vineland, New Jersey at 2 p.m. for my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. It's a place for older residents, so please call if you are not a resident or a family member. These places, sometimes they let outside people in, sometimes they do not. Hope to see you there. We'll see you in the next one.